Our today's lecture is Electoral Politics, Class 9, Civics, Chapter number 4. Whenever we talk about elections, the image that comes to our mind is a lot of politicians, ministers joining their hands and begging to people for their votes. But let's not go that far. We can see the examples of elections around us as well. You all are studying in schools, and in schools and your classes you are supposed to elect one person as your class monitor who is to represent you or tell the teacher or the authorities about the problems of the class. To elect the class monitor, the procedure which the students generally follow is that they choose the person who is liked by all and who they deem that will be the most efficient person to take an action against their problems. So, elections are nothing but the procedure of picking up or electing the representative which you deem the most perfect person to take decisions on your side. Like all the chapters of civics in your class, this chapter again starts with a story which sets an example or a background for this chapter. The story relates from the state of Haryana, where the state assembly elections were held in the year 1987, and Chaudhry Devi Lal, he led a movement called the Nyay Yudh and formed a new political party called the Lok Dal. And during the elections, he made promises to the farmers and to the small businessmen that if they put their belief in him and cast vote for him, he is going to make policies to give out loans to them easily. Because of his promises, he won the election, and as soon as he became the chief minister, the government issued orders waiving the outstanding loans to small farmers and agricultural laborers and small businessmen. So, if we have to define election, taking an example from this story, we can say choosing a representative from the crowd or from the common people to take decisions on our behalf. Now, why is it important to elect one person or representative to take decisions on your behalf? Why can't everybody take decisions for their own? The question that rises up here is, why do we need elections? We can justify this question, or we can explain this question with an easy view that in large communities or in where a large amount of people are involved, it is very difficult for everybody to sit together and take decisions. Suppose we take an example of our country. We have the second largest population in the world, and suppose if we have to sit every day to take decisions regarding what is good for the country and what is bad for the country, first of all, it is very impractical, or it is not possible. It's not like we are talking about the class elections, that the example that I gave earlier. It is the population of millions that we are talking here about, and even for the sake of argument, we can suppose that even if we make them sit and take decisions regarding their better good, it is very difficult for them to reach a single conclusion. Because we are talking about a lot of people, then we'll find that a lot of people means a lot of opinions, and a lot of opinions will come to one conclusion very rarely. So, to remove that problem, What we do is we elect a single representative or a bunch of representatives from amongst us only who take decisions on our behalf. But then again, we come across another question. How can we trust that the representatives that we are electing to take decisions on our behalf will take good decisions for us? How can we call that the election process or the democracy where we have people to take decisions for us will be good? So, what makes an election a democratic election or a proper, fair election? For any election to be democratic, some conditions have to be fulfilled, otherwise, no election can be termed democratic. The conditions can be that every person, every adult person from the population should be able to choose. There should be a number of candidates amongst which or from which the selection should be done. That is, there should be a competition among the candidates. It should not be like only one representative is there and there is no choice to choose from. The choice that the democracy is offering, it should come after a regular interval. It should not be like one time you have elected one person as your representative and that is it. That person is going to rule over you or take decisions on your behalf all your life. The choice should come after regular intervals so that the people can get a chance to calculate or to evaluate what the candidates are and if they can get any better option than them. Then another important condition that has to be fulfilled to make any election a democratic election is that the person the people have elected as their representative should get the post. It should not be like that the people have elected somebody else and the bureaucracy or the dictators they have elected somebody else, so the people's choice should be put at the second step. The election or the representative that the people have elected should be their representative or should be preferred by the people as their elected representative. And the final condition that the election process should be held in a free and fair manner. After fulfilling all these conditions, we can say that the elections are a democratic process, are a better process for electing a representative to take decisions for you. But still, here we are giving the candidates or the politicians a chance to have a competition. And whenever we find that there is a competition, there come unfair means and dirty tricks that the politicians or ministers use to get themselves in power. So, should this competition, should this fight be allowed, or is it good to have political competition? Yes, to answer this question, we can say that if there is no political competition, the election, the whole process will become a pointless. Yes, there are the demerits of the political competition. Sometimes the politicians use unfair means to get into the power, but in the long run, the system works better. The system of democracy, the election, it proves a better result, or it gives a better result for the people. Now, how can we say that in the long run it is a better system? Because in the short run, maybe the politicians can use unfair means, they can appeal to the people in different manners, they can threaten the people, or they can use any wrong medium of getting elected or getting power into their own hand. But that thing will not go for a long term, because once the people realize that these people are not doing them any good or doing any welfare work from them for them, then they will not elect them for the future purposes. And in election, in a democracy, the people's choice is the foremost, is the priority. So the whole process, it itself becomes a democratic one, because even if the political parties use wrong methods, they'll have to do some welfare work, they'll have to be driven by their sense of duty, because if they do not do this, they will not stand in power. That's what makes the whole competition a democratic competition. And to deal with the situation, the government, the constitution will have to take some stance, like punishing the people who use unfair means, or rewarding the people who are doing good for the country. So in that way, the whole process, the whole political competition, it becomes a worth it process, which is the best possible process we can use in a democracy as big as ours.